unmuting. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you all. Hey, Kent. I see lots of you parents out there in Kent. Good to see all your faces. Yay. So we have a couple announcements before we get started tonight. So Becky will help me out. So let's just make sure I can hear you, Becky. Okay, we'll give her a minute. Can't hear you yet. But you all can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yes. Okay. Hi, Becky. Hi. So a couple announcements first. Number one, we got Mom's Group tomorrow. All you moms of Battlefield ladies, aunts, grandmas, all the ladies are invited every Wednesday. We have a Mom's Group. It's a 1-hour coffee on Zoom, where we get to just kind of talk about the topic from the night before. We get to know each other more. Last week, we got an extra special treat. We had a special guest, Arts, join us. Every once in a while, he'll do that. So it was extra fun, but hopefully y'all can join us. So if you need the link, if you haven't joined us yet, join us. If you can even just here and there, maybe you have a day off, maybe you have lunch break, something like that, and you're not able to join every week, we still invite you to come as you can. Now, next week, there's two things. Number one, I'm coming to town on Tuesday, so I would love to see you all there at the Kent watch party. So join us just like you are there tonight, and all you local people. Hopefully y'all can come out and join us in person on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, we have a special moms group in person, a little luncheon at Kristen's house. In Lake Tapps. So it's something we were able to do in the summer. It was a lot of fun, so we want to do it again. So hopefully y'all can join us in person. So that's those two little tidbits. And then today is Giving Tuesday. It's an annual movement where it's like a global movement where they encourage you to think about giving back to a charity. It's after Thanksgiving. We got Black Friday, we got Cyber Monday, we got all this stuff going on, and we're doing all this stuff, and it's just that end of the year encouragement to think about your favorite charity, and of course, our favorite being Battlefield Addiction. We appreciate all the help and support out there every year, and thank you for all of you who are sharing, whether it be the newsletter or the Facebook. Now, Facebook has changed just a little bit. They're doing a lot of things differently, so we haven't gotten a lot of steam there on the Facebook, but we have gotten a lot of you that have responded to the newsletter that has gone out. So thank you for donating directly on our website. We're already over 2,000 just on the website alone. And this year, we actually, our recipient this year for some funding is this. I see Elizabeth there too. I'm going to put you, hi Elizabeth. I'm going to put you on Spotlight so they can see your beautiful face. But you all have seen her story in our newsletter and on Facebook. So Elizabeth originally reached out to me back in August, and I can remember having a great conversation with her. I was out by the pool, and we had a great conversation, and she was telling me about her mama. And her mama has struggled with alcoholism since she can remember. And it's been a real struggle for her and her 3 brothers. And she found a place for her to go on state insurance. And then the struggle was, well, where does she go afterwards? Because as you can imagine, there's a lot of health challenges that come after so many years. And she needs help. She needs more help. She needs caretakers. And, it's tough to find funding out there for these things. And she was lucky enough to find a place called Life Change Centers in Oregon that has a spot for her mom for 9 months. And she arrived there last week. You can see her mom, Irina, in the pictures there with her, and you can see her brothers. And so we would love to help this family out and help bring some relief to help cover some or, hopefully we can get to help, but we'd certainly love to help make it possible for the entire 9 months. So thank you for all your help with that. And so hi, Elizabeth. If you just want to say hi real quick, we'd love to meet you real quick so everybody can hear your voice and see your face. And where do you live, Elizabeth? Hi.
Hi, thank you so much.
I'm getting kind of emotional.
Okay.
Because I saw how much was donated, and I'm so grateful.
Where do you live?
I live in Fife, Washington.
Makes us emotional here too. We feel you. And you just made a real impression on me, back in August after we talked. You've been on my heart, and I saw you. So Elizabeth had put a GoFundMe together, and I saw that on Facebook, and I just happened to stumble across it, and I was like, I remember talking to her, and I know that didn't get a lot of traction either. And, sometimes it's just hard. Social media, you just never know, and how it can actually spread and get out there. You just really never know. And I was like, you know what, we can do something here. And anything that y'all can do to help us spread, whether it's the Facebook, if you go to Battlefield Addiction Facebook page, you'll see the fundraiser there. You can share it with your friends. You can donate there on Facebook, or you can, tomorrow I will actually post the newsletter. I'll put that on Facebook too. So the newsletter actually directs people directly to our website. And I know a lot of people, it's easier that way. They're concerned about Facebook putting your credit card and stuff like that. So if that's a concern, it's an option just to go directly to our website. And those funds will be used towards this cause, and we will, and the Facebook fundraiser runs for like 2 weeks. So we will keep pushing it, Elizabeth, we will. And we're just so glad you're here, and we hope you can join us each week. And then we look forward to when your mom is able to join us too, and any of your brothers and all of the above. So keep joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right, so Becky has a couple things, and then we'll move it over to our comedy.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank everybody for their donations, whether it's Facebook or your monthly partnership, or you've come to the auction or Run for Recovery. I mean, this has been a community that just does such a great job of helping to pay it forward to the next family that needs the help, and making sure the Battlefield's doors stay open and that we can do treatment and sober living scholarships. And so hard to keep always asking and fundraising. And so for the new year, what I really would like people to think about is corporate sponsorships and donations. And so if you work for a company, say like Boeing or Microsoft or wherever, oftentimes they will match, they'll do matching funds. And if you donate, they'll match exactly what you have. Or you can nominate us for a grant, or there may be some other programs that they have. And so we would just really love it if you would go in and talk to your human resources department and ask them what kind of charitable giving options they have for nonprofits. And, I can help. I can give you all the information. I can even write an application for you. But that would really help alleviate a lot of the stress of us constantly having to, fundraise like this, and ask people, that have been helped by Battlefield to continue to give and give and give. And I know it can get really taxing. So anyway, that is something that we would really like to focus on this next year. So keep us in mind, please. And if you have any questions, ask Angie, or you can ask me. You can call me. Angie, could you type my number and my email in the chat?
Yes.
Okay, that would be great.
Yes, and the cool thing about the thing too on what she's saying, reaching out to your human resources, is the earlier in the year that we do that, the more likely, because companies have a certain amount that they give nonprofits for the year, and then they run out and there's nothing left in the last part of the year, And so if we can get on this early, just check with your human resource department. We got a $2,500 grant from Starbucks because Teresa Rodman nominated us. We actually, the biggest one we ever got was $20,000 from Walmart, because one of the ladies from Beyond the Battle had nominated us. And we've gotten a lot of, like $1,000, and it adds up. So look into it, see what you can do in the first quarter of the year to increase our chances. That would be awesome. So, all right, that's it for announcements, I believe. So let's move it over to a little comedy. Let me take this off spotlight.
That's awful.
What's that?
Go, Kyle!
Let me make sure you have an audience from here and turn the camera over to our couch. So we're here in Las Vegas while they're in Kent. This is Mr. Kyle Munkers, our working man now. And he brings us our comedy. He's here to bring Kyle's corny comedy corner, everybody.
Thank you, Angie. All right. What do you call a parrot in Antarctica? A bird. At least once during every solutions arts goes, I don't get it. I invented a belt that has a bunch of little watches on it, but it was a waste of time. They get better. They get
It's
better.
not going to be funny until Lucas laughs.
Lucas never laughs. He makes it a point. Back in the day, female pirates would actually they would have to get one of their boobs replaced. I mean, that would suck, wouldn't it? What's the number one cause for dry skin? A towel. So quite a few years ago, I watched a really good documentary on heroin, but I nodded out and forgot what it was about. Fun fact: the act of having sex. The act of having sex burns off enough calories equal to running 8 miles, which is great. That means I'm running 8 miles in 30 seconds. I'm a fast guy. You guys know who the most popular guy in a nudist colony is? It's the one that can hold 2 coffees and 6 donuts. All right, last one. Another fun fact. Most clients would probably know this. Parents obviously would not. But sometimes there are days where Art wakes up grumpy, but the rest of the time, he lets her sleep in.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, before I switch the camera over, as y'all can see, we have a couple special guests in the house. We've got Mitra, Andy's mom, just flew in right in the nick of time to get here for Solution Group. Yay! And then we've got Sierra and Journey, Andrew's lovely lady and daughter. So yeah, the camera, it shows this. Yeah, there you go. They're usually on Zoom each week. So super fun to have some special guests. We've got an entire room full. It goes all the way around the room. You can just see one corner of the room down here. But rest assured, your loved one is in the room. All the parents are always looking for their loved one. They are here. So let's move it over to Art. All right. Hey, Art. Okay, we're ready to go. Let me take them off. Should I mute you guys over there, or do you guys do that? Or maybe we don't need to. I don't know. Maybe we don't have a problem. Okay, I'm going to remove that, and there we go.
I think I usually go from this screen to, okay.
Yeah. See everybody.
As a kind of a continuation of the last 3 weeks, last week being about the fact that we are truth and that we are love and that we are now, we are presence, and kind of a determination of we're not ourself, we're actually we are love and we are God and we are now and we are presence. And it comes up a lot. You hear people talk. One of the things I hear people say a lot is they say, I want to find my authentic self. I find people saying that a lot, and they never admit that they're currently a complete fake. They don't go, well, right now I'm fake and I want to find my authentic self. They never say, I want to quit being my fake self. They say, I want to be my authentic self. And then they say, I want to find my true self. So what are you now? What are you now? I want to be more spiritual. Okay. You want to be more spiritual. Well, what are you now? So if I want to find my authentic self, what do I got to do? How does somebody go about the business of that? If you want to find your true self, and then people say, I have a soul. But people never say, and where is it? So you have a soul, where is it? You have a true self, where is it? You have an authentic self, where is it? You want to find love? Where? Where do you find it? You want to be more present? Good luck with that. How are you going to do that? So you look around and you see, and you never hear anyone say, well, so many people will even say, I want to be more truthful. They never say, I want to be less of a liar. I want to be my authentic self. I don't want to be my fake self. So the problem with that is what you get into is what you need to, what happens is that we as human beings have become our equipment. Well, basically what happens is this spirit, this love, this light that we are, this soul that we are, the true self that we are, gets put in this body. And then this body has equipment. And what happens is we begin to slowly and surely become sucked in. And so when we figure out what we are and we decide that what I am is I am love and I am God and I am now and I am present and I am truth, and you can come to the conclusion that that's what you are, and I am a soul and I am a spirit. I don't have to look for any of those things. That's what I am. Well, then what you'll do is you'll start seeing what you've become. You'll start being able to look at what's happened. If you are a true self, where did it go? If you are a spirit, where did it go? If you are love, where did it go? If you are now, how come you can't be that? If you are truth, where did it go? And you have to start, what you have to do is you can't figure out what you are. You have to look at what you're not. So you have to look at some things. You have to look at what this equipment is. Well, we've got this equipment and it's filled with emotions and it's filled with thoughts. And those thoughts and emotions are right in front of us. And that's what pulls us into the equipment. So our equipment is this thing filled with thoughts and filled with emotions. And what's happened over time is Andrew's young daughter is here, and right now she's true self. She is love. She is now. She's present. She doesn't have to try to be present. She is present. There's no way out of it. She doesn't have to try to tell the truth. She is the truth. She doesn't have to find her authentic self. She's her authentic self. There's no question. You see, there's no question that she's just this little spirit, this little light that's been illuminated, this little body. And there she is. What happens? What happens to us? And what happens is we start becoming what we're not. We start becoming fake. We start becoming our equipment. So I get the luxury of being down here in this laboratory, this great thing where I can watch people suffer in the human experience. And I can look into why they're suffering. And I can see people suffer. And I can see how desperately they want out. And I can see them wanting freedom. And I can see what happens. And so I've kind of boiled it down to the equipment does purpose. So the thoughts and emotions and the equipment, what it's here to do. And I think that there's two types of equipment that gets kind of checked in. The first equipment, what one type of people are, is that they're like the extrovert kind of people, and their whole equipment is designed to make them survive. But the way that they survive is they survive by looking cool. So we have the extroverts and the people that are outward and the people that, really, really use their equipment to their advantage in order to look good. See? So I think the equipment, by the way, is designed for one of two reasons. You can also call the equipment to self, but I think it's designed for one of two reasons. And the first reason is to look good. And then the second reason is to judge and determine fairness. And so right now we have this equipment that judges and determines fairness. And so everyone has this equipment, and your equipment is always judging and determining fairness. And it's out there trying to make you look good amongst the other humans because that's how you survive. But then what I found out is there's some people that are extroverts and they're trying to look good. And then there's some people that are introverts that come here and they're just trying not to look bad. So there's two types of equipment. It's the equipment that tells you to look good and say some cool shit and be boisterous and try to tell people how much shit you got and how cool you are. And then there's the equipment that says, don't say something stupid. Don't make a mistake. And then right behind the exit way of looking good is this idea of fairness. And so we then look forward at these thoughts and these emotions, and they're all based upon these two things. The thoughts and emotions are kind of based upon whether we're looking good or whether we're not looking good, or whether we said something stupid or we didn't, or whether we're treated fairly or we're being oppressed. And so then you have the outgoing people that get kind of boisterous and say, screw that. And they say, this isn't fair. And they speak outwardly and they get it all out and just look stupid because they're angry. And then you have the people that are trying not to look stupid. So they stuff it all in. And see, our thoughts and our emotions are what we become when we don't deal with them. So when we don't deal with our thoughts and we keep them in here, they block what we are, which is the authentic self. They block the truth. And if our emotions aren't dealt with, then what they do is they get suppressed. And so either they're violently held outward and people wear their emotions on their shoulder, or they stuff them. Now I've come to see that the people that are out there boisterous and the people that are, they have it a little easier. From my experience currently, they have it a little easier because they don't stuff anything. And so they just get it all out and they blurt it out. And those guys are called the assholes. You see, those are the assholes. And the quiet people that are trying to look good, they point out the assholes and say, God, that guy's an asshole. How could he say that? Mm-hmm. But you see, both of these people, their motivation, their agenda. You see, you have to understand that your equipment that you're sucked into has an agenda. And its agenda is either to look good or not look stupid. But the problem is that the people that are stuffing, the people, they call that awkward. They call that uncomfortable. But the problem is your equipment is uncomfortable and awkward. Because at some age, you were like Andrew's daughter. You were love, you were truth, you were spirit. But see, something happened. You ran into a wall. And that pain of running into that wall, that embarrassment or whatever it became, that became too much. And so what I've noticed is the people that are stuffing, the people that are not expressing their emotions, the people that are not expressing their thoughts, they have a real uncomfortable time on this earth. And people don't understand them. People don't get them. And there's also another thing that seems to be happening with people that are stuffing and people that are trying not to look bad, is that they are confused. You know, when your emotions and your thoughts are so stuffed that your thoughts create emotions and the emotions overtake you and your thoughts create emotions and emotion. When you're stuffed like that, that'll cause deep confusion because you don't know if it's an emotion or a thought. And what happens with the people that are trying to not look bad, just trying to play it safe and trying to be in here, what happens with them is they just get so confused and wrapped up in their emotions and thoughts that it creates an awkwardness. And so then the people that are trying to look good, they have another struggle because everyone thinks they're an asshole. But see, if you look at the foundation of this, because Andrew's daughter soon, if they're not careful, what they will do to her is that they will tell her to be a good person. And there it is. Once you're told to be a good person, you're fucked. You see? because they might not tell her, you are truth, you are love, you are now, you are presence, you are your authentic self. Do not go into your equipment. But see, what the equipment does is it takes everything that's going on, emotions and thoughts and all of it, and it balls it up. And then there's a little spigot that you can come out of. It's just a little spigot that's left. And it filters everything that's going on in you into the spigot of either not looking bad or looking good. You see? So some people are having emotions and they go, I'm fine. And that's their way to look good. I don't want to talk about it. And then some people just stuff it and they fake it. You see? So what happens is we come onto this planet as a spirit. We're just put in here as a light. And then the equipment begins to overtake us. Too many thoughts undealt with. Too many emotions undealt with. No more truth. And we're now filtered through this problem. We're filtered through this thing. And all that's left of us, the only thing that we're expressing is looking good. And the things that the resentments come from one of two places. See, then after looking good, things don't go our way and we don't look good. So then what happens is we feel oppressed. We feel victimized. So then what happens is with the people that are trying to look good, well, they feel oppressed and victimized. So they yell and they scream and they get angry. And then the other people that feel oppressed and resentful and aren't looking good, what they do is they stuff it. But that stuffing leads to confusion. They don't know if they're wrong or the world's wrong. See, when you don't stuff it and you just yell at people, you'll figure out real quick if you're wrong or the world's wrong. You'll figure it out. But when you continue to stuff it, when you continue to live this way, see, there's no question. We as families, all these families on here, it's like, you're not disconnected. You're just caught in your equipment. And this equipment of looking good has roles to it, has agendas to it. So now your equipment says, be a good mom. And so now everything you do is filtered through that. Everything you do is filtered through the lens of that. Now the little spigot, all that's left is, I better do everything what would a good mom say here? Not the truth. It's not what a good mom says. You see? And no one says, hey, you know what you just need to do in your life? You just need to be the truth. You see, so now we have to change the context. If we want to change if we want to be authentic, if we want to be truthful, if we want to be what we are, we have to change the agenda. You see, if you don't spot the agenda, by the way, there might be people so caught in their agenda of looking good that they clearly will not understand what I'm talking about tonight. They're so used to their equipment, they're caught in it, that they'll go, I'm not about looking good. I don't care what people think of me. That's you trying to look good right there. If that thought came into your mind that you're not about looking good, that's because you're about looking good. That's because you're now getting scared and going, oh, they might think I'm about looking good. I don't want to be, but see, as a human being, I will beg you and just please take a look. Your life is about looking good and fairness. Look, you will not be able to deny it. The things you say to people, the things you don't say to people, the way you try to be kind, the way you have to be fake, the way you have to not say what you're thinking, the way you have to try to spice everything up when you say it, the way you have to actually act around people. If you can't figure out that your life's about looking good, boy, you're in trouble. You're caught. So people say, well, I'm not about looking good. You just said that because you want to look good. You don't even see it. You see? So if you don't figure that out, you can never change the agenda. But if you do, if you figure out, I see it. I see why my dishonesty. See, no one ever says, I want to be my true self because I'm an absolute liar. I don't say what I'm thinking. I say the opposite. Everything I say is filtered upon, I want to be nice. Everything I say is filtered in some type of way. When I don't like something, I say I like it. When I don't like somebody, I try to say, oh no, they're fine. I even say when I'm talking about somebody I like, or I dislike, before I talk about somebody I dislike, I say to the room, I don't have a problem with this person. I don't dislike him. I actually really love him. But that's you looking good. That's you being a liar. And see, you have to see what a liar you are in order to be a true self. You have to see what a robot you become in order to be a spirit. In order to be light, you have to see what is dimming you. You have to. You see, so actually getting to the place of all the way back. Take that breath and look. Look at that. You're not your thoughts, that this equipment is full of thoughts. But see, you don't have to attach to them. And you're not your emotions. It's filled with emotions. But people that actually that get sucked in by their emotions, you see, they become their emotions. You see, they say things like this: I am worried. I am scared. I am angry. I am what? That's an emotion. You would never see, that's an experience, an emotion. You can't become it. You can't unless you let yourself. But if you noticed, I am depressed, really. You see, you don't going to the Super Bowl would be an experience, but you don't say to people, I am Super Bowl. You don't say that. That's just an experience. And you can clearly see the difference between you and the experience of being at the Super Bowl. The problem is you can't see the difference between you and your emotions. And you can't see the difference between you and your thoughts. And you've become your thoughts and you become your emotions. And then you've been wrapped up in a ball of looking good. Nice drop. So now maybe you can see the dilemma of why I would have to say to people, you see, even the fakeness of saying I want to become an authentic self. You cannot be more fake than saying I want to be an authentic self. The reason you're saying I want to be an authentic self is you're pointing out that other people aren't authentic and you're better than them. Simply. You cannot become an authentic self. You are an authentic self. You have to look at what you're not. You have to see what you're not. You have to look and see the persona that you put on. You have to see the filter that you have in here that jumbles up what you think and what you feel and tries to produce it to the world in some palatable way. And then we go to work and we try to go into the job and we try to produce this little palatable way of saying things. We have become liars. And if you don't see it as being a liar and up to something, having an agenda, keeping up with the Joneses, looking good, constant. Come on. Why'd you buy that? Why did you put the picture on Facebook? Come on. It's fine to do all that shit. Just please understand why you're doing it. Don't con us. You see? Every football player saying he plays football for his family, not the fame and women, not the money. I play for my kids. Will you see your kids? No, I don't see my kids. I play football for my kids. Why do you sell real estate? Oh, I sell real estate because I love seeing a couple get their new home. Well, you just jack them for 8%. Yeah, no, but I love seeing it. Yeah, I know. Why does art do treatment? Oh, because I care so deeply about the still suffering alcoholic, man. And I just love. Oh, man, that's the only thing I know how to do. How's that? That's what I did. I did drugs for 17 years. Where's that going to lead? Fuck. Yeah. Look, I don't know. I don't know how to do anything else. How's that? Fuck. You see? But until you admit that your life is about looking good, the agenda can't change. The agenda cannot change. And you will be operating under an agenda. There is no question. So if you haven't done this in your life, if you haven't come to the point where the equipment fails you, where you're so goddamn miserable being inside there, that you had to do drugs to get out. And see, everyone in this room is looking at me and they know. They know and they can feel it. They can feel what it's like to have your equipment completely fail you, to get so tired of being fake, So tired of going to people and saying shit that you don't mean. So tired of being cordial, putting on a show, that you finally just do drugs to escape the equipment. And you go, I can't fucking take this fake bullshit no more. I can't go over to Thanksgiving and look at my family and really see all the unfairness and the unjustness and the whole incongruent behaviors and discrepancies. And I can't just be in a room and not just shout anymore. I'm losing it. And then there's people that they get more awkward. Yeah, you're getting more awkward because you're not truthful. And you're sitting in there and it's just pounding on you. What you really want to say is F that, and forget this, and you're bullshit too. And then finally you'd be free. You see? So I see it. I sit here and I see what people are doing. I see that you're caught in your equipment and it's so scary to come out. It's so scary to actually feel your emotions, actually say your thoughts. And there's no way out of the equipment until you feel your emotions not become them, notice your emotions not become them, and say and express your thoughts. See, the problem with not expressing your thoughts is you'll never figure out if they're true or not. And if you don't express your thoughts, you won't figure out if they're true or not. And what you'll do is you start questioning yourself and truth, and you'll get very confused. You won't know if you're being victimized or oppressed. And you will be pushed back into a ball of fraudulence. And you'll have to sit in a room surrounded by your own thoughts and your own emotions and try to filter life through there and still try to look good in the end. And that's miserable. It ain't going to work. And so what we're doing down here is trying to guide people out of their equipment. And there is nobody on here that's not stuck in their equipment. We all are. We all have an agenda. And the only people that can do this are people that can get called out on their agenda and have the humility to go, I see that. You get called out and said, I did just go to the work and saw my coworker and I said, man, I like you and have a nice day. But the truth is I hate him. I did that. I did just sit with my family on Thanksgiving and I didn't say any of my thoughts. And I wanted to, but I didn't. And I did just experience emotions and get caught by them, but then get so angry I had to go outside and vent. But I didn't tell the person that sparked the emotion. And so sometimes then, especially with the awkward people, with the people that are just suppressing things, they all go to isolation. I get to live here and I get to see people and I get to see why they go into isolation. And the extroverts and the people that are up to looking good, well, they can't stop that agenda. So they got to get going. So let us go on to the next thing that tries to make them look good. They won't isolate because their agenda is about looking good. And then the quiet people, the introverts, they go isolate and be alone. But the same thing's going on. Truth covered up by equipment. So this idea that you will find your true self, ridiculous. You are a true self. This idea that you will find love, ridiculous. You are love. But look, if you can't be a human being right now that can see your equipment, well, that means you're lost in it. And if you can't see that there is machinery inside of your head at work, and the machinery says, look good, look good, look good, don't look stupid, look good, look good. And then right behind that, it says judgment. Some people there is judgment. Some people have judgment. We all have judgment. And some people are trying to look so good, so hard that they say they don't have judgment. But don't get it twisted. In this human equipment that we've been placed in, I promise you, it is doing. It has an agenda. And if you don't watch it, you will fall under the agenda always. And the agenda will be to look good. And the agenda will be to spot fairness and judgment. That's what will go on. And if you don't regulate this equipment, if you don't look at it, you don't see what it's doing, you will never be what you are. You will be the equipment. So we have to spot what we're not. We have to look at it and we have to see what it's up to. You don't think. You don't think. Stop saying that. You see the kind of language that we have? We say, I think. We don't think. It thinks. It thinks. You don't think. You can't stop thinking. So why do you say, I think? Make it stop. Have it stop thinking right now if you're doing it. You see? It thinks. And it thinks about how you look good. And it thinks about fairness. And it thinks about justice. And it thinks about oppression. And it thinks about whether your family did enough dishes. And who came and who brought what. And what dish they brought. And how many drinks so-and-so had. And he should have stopped drinking and not drank so much. And they should have done this and they shouldn't have done that. It says shoulds and shouldn'ts all the time. Why? Because it is judgment. And it is equipment and it's there for our protection, but it's gone wild. It's gone insane. It's no longer needed. It was there to say, that's an animal that will kill me. That shouldn't be around me. But now there is no animals that will kill us. Now we're just in our homes and it's still working. We're safe, but it doesn't know it. And it says the way you need to survive is to look good. And if you don't recognize it, that's the agenda, then how could the agenda truly be about love? How can you be what you are? I want to be love. Well, guess what? You got to be truth too. Well, guess what? You got to be present too. Guess what? The equipment is going to try to block you. You're going to try to be present. You're going to try to be love. You're going to try to be truth. But this thing's going to filter it all. Or it's going to pull you out. It's going to say, think about tomorrow. Think about this. Think about that. Because tomorrow you'll look good if you do that and you do this. You'll be eating dinner. And how am I going to look good at dinner? I'm going to be the one that gets up and takes the plates and starts washing dishes. Well, you're about looking good. No, that's not what I do, why I wash the dishes. I don't care about what people think about me. I just like clean dishes. You're full of shit. That's how you look good. It is equipment and it is up to its job, and its job for our very survival is to look good and to judge what's going on around us. And the reason you're not your true self is because you are your equipment. You're lost in thought. You're lost in looking good. And what comes out of your mouth is a lie. Because it's twisted up. It went from this original thought. I don't like that. I don't like that person. How did it filter up to they're a nice person? What happened? You had a judgment. It said, I don't like that. And then what happened after? I don't like that you did that. That's the original thought. And then it comes out, oh, that was nice. Thank you. We get a present. Ooh, I hate this. First thought, oh, nice, nice. You're not a liar, huh? But you give a 2-year-old a present. This sucks. Why? Because they're the truth. But then we tell them, that's not what a nice person does. You need to start being fake. And we start forcing it on them. Don't go to school and say tell kids you don't like them. That's not what a good person does. Good person sits in class and says, I love everyone. Do you? But we don't call that being a liar. We don't call it being a liar that we have all these thoughts in here that we don't share with people. That's called lying by omission. You're a liar still. You have a lot of thoughts about people and you won't tell them. I'm sorry, but you're a liar. That's it. Because when you were a kid, you tell them. You're not a liar, you see? But why don't you tell them? Because I want to look good. I don't want to look bad. we've learned as human beings, we've kind of trained robots of what a good person does and what a bad person does. I've come to the conclusion in my life after 50 years of being on this planet that there is nothing scarier than a good person. I'll take an honest person any day. I'll take somebody that can give it to me straight. You can't tell me what you like about me if you can't tell me what you dislike about me. I don't want to hear it. You need to be able to tell me what you dislike, or everything you say what you like is bullshit. And I don't trust you. So until you grow some balls and tell me what you don't like, I don't want to hear your opinion about how great I am. If I cook 10 meals and you tell me you like all of them, I can't trust you. You're a fraud. If you go to the dinner party and tell everyone there that you like them, you're a fraud. Because you waited till you got in the car to talk about what you didn't like. I'm sorry you're a liar and a fraud. Now you want to be your authentic self? Not going to work. What's the way out? We start setting a different agenda. I want to get rid of my equipment. I want to expel these thoughts that keep me locked in here. So I have to tell them to my partner, my lover, anyone. I have to tell them to my kids. I have to tell them. I have to stop hiding thoughts. And what do I have to do with my emotions? I have to notice them, and I have to experience them in the moment that they're occurring. It's fine. There's worry. Oh, there went worry. There's embarrassment. Oh, there's embarrassment. Okay. There's panic. Oh, there's depression. But are you depressed? Yeah, I'm depressed. You're noticing you're depressed. Are you depressed, or are you the one noticing? That's Ram Dass. Who's noticing that you're depressed? That's you noticing. So how can you be depressed? You can't be depressed. You can experience depression. You can't be anxiety. I am anxious. You can't be anxious. It's an experience. What the hell are you talking about? Do you see how our language doesn't suit us? Do you see how we say, I have a soul? And how that could be very confusing and lived. You are a soul.
Where is it?
That's like a pumpkin saying, I have a light. You are the light. You don't have a light. You don't have a spirit. You don't have a soul. You're it. Our language is very confusing. We are soulmates. It almost means like something that you're not is connecting with something that I'm not. And we call that soulmates. We're mates. We're two souls that are mates. We don't say that. We don't say, I am love. We say, I got to find it. Where the hell are you going to find it? Keep looking. How can you find it? You're it. I should be more present. Who's saying that? That's the looking good in you. There it goes. You are presence. No. I'm going to connect with the current moment. You are the current moment. It's never happened without you. But something, the equipment, has taken you. And then but you're not. Fake. So when you see it correctly, you'll see the job. I set an agenda. My agenda is to be what I am. There's the agenda. Well, what's going to get in the way? The equipment. Well, what's the equipment? My unsaid thoughts, my unexperienced emotions that I'm trying to block from the world and tell them I'm not feeling it. My filter that has me filtering everything I say to look good rather than to be honest. My going to the car lot and acting for 1 second as if I'm not considering who's going to look at my car. The lie And it all starts with some simple act of humility to just kind of sit and go, my life's about looking good. Wow. Well, my life's about not looking stupid. When I walk into that room full of people, I have an agenda. And it is one, either to not look mean or stupid or unkind, or it is to look really good. And you watch a room, and you see the people. You look at that room, and you be in that room, and you see what people are up to, because they will be up to one of two things. The quiet ones will try to be not looking stupid, and the boisterous ones will be trying to look really good. And you tell me what's going on. You tell me where love is in that room. You tell me where presence and truth are. And you tell me that everyone in that room isn't performing. Because God forbid, I have that childhood experience like I had when I was a child, and I said something stupid and the world laughed at me. So from that point on, I have made my life about not looking stupid. And God forbid I don't get enough attention. So I come in and I tell people how cool I am. And I comedic value, and you tell me what each one's up to. I know it's what I'm about. I don't know what else to do but try to look good with the humans. I don't know what else to do. So you see it, it helps. Angie has a spiritual kind of guru lady. And I didn't have an opinion of her, or I didn't say anything really up until, and I said, ask her just one question for me. Ask her if trying to look good ever goes away. And then Angie called and asked her, and she went, yeah, it goes away. And I went, shouldn't listen to her anymore. Because trying to look good doesn't go away. Trying not to look stupid doesn't go away. Maybe for an 85-year-old man or something, or that's given up on everything. I did see an 85-year-old man in the Denny's reading a paper and having a cup of coffee, and he was all alone sitting in a booth, and he just lifted up his leg and ripped one right there in the Denny's. And I thought, wow, he might be over it. No? That dude might got it figured out. But see, her spiritual leader or this lady, she isn't seeing herself if she doesn't know that it's about, she's looking good with her clients. She's saying nice things. She's trying to tell people they're doing great when they're not. And then she says, it goes away. No, it doesn't. You have an identity, and it's kindness and joy and upbeat, and you're expressing your identity, not the truth. And here I am. Not suggesting here that I want to come on here and look bad. I think all day, what am I going to say that looks really good? But maybe if I can see that, I can go for a different agenda. And maybe my agenda tonight is to free you. Maybe I can get down and go, listen, this is what I want for you. I want you to see the equipment at work, and I want you to see that you're not it. And I want you to see how it's overtaken you to the point where you got to get free of it, to the point that you go do drugs to get rid of it. And I want you to notice that as soon as you take those drugs, the equipment goes away. There might not be any more. It might not go away. It might still be there, which has caused you to not really like drugs as much as you used to. But the first time you took drugs, the equipment went away. The pent-up thoughts, the pent-up emotions, the resentments, the things left unsaid. There is nothing more truthful than an alcoholic, drunk. Nothing more truthful than a drug addict high for the first time. Say anything. The freedom you felt. That's the type of freedom I want people to feel. And I think it only starts when you admit that you've been up to the same agenda as everyone else. That you've been trying to look good. That love hasn't been your number one motivation. That looking loving, looking caring has substituted for love and care. That there might not be love and care, but there might be a big concern about whether you look loving and you look caring. And that might have overruled actual love and actual care. Don't get it. There's nothing wrong with it. It happened because you want to survive. All of this happened because that little girl, Journey, she's going to want to survive. And she's not going to want to face ridicule of being truthful. So she's going to walk into third grade and she's going to stop saying her thoughts and she's going to start hiding her emotions because she's going to want to look good. And then she's going to get into seventh grade and she's going to study because she wants to look good. And then she's going to get a car because she wants to look good. She's going to get the right boyfriend because she wants to look good. And then she want to get an apartment because she want to look good. And she's going to be about looking good. And it's going to be very hard to prevent. Only knowledge would prevent it. Only actually letting her see that she's about looking good could prevent that agenda from running rampant. And then she could turn over to like just being present, being what she is, and seeing the difficulty and start walking down the right path. My life was a performance for them, and it still is. And them is a lot of different thems. See, so when you go buy shoes, you're buying those shoes for them. Now, it's just a dark cloud of them. It's not a particular person usually or a group, but there's different groups that you're buying your shoes for. You see? Well, if you're buying your shoes, the nice dress shoes, you're buying them for the boss, or maybe you're buying them for family. You want to look good for them. You're buying the Jordans. You want to look good for the boys, for them. So there you go. Performing for them. Oh, go put your makeup on. Who are you performing for? Go get your hair cut. Who are you thinking about? Go get the car. Who are you thinking about? You got a big check? Who are you thinking about? Who's that check for? Who do you hope this makes you look good for? You're at the gym? Whoa. Who are you performing for? And the people that don't have the humility at the gym, you could go there and go, what are you here for? You trying to look good? No, I care about health and fitness and well, you look pretty healthy and fit. In fact, you look like you don't need to be here. Yeah, I work out every day. Well, how much? How much is it about health and fitness then? Well, it's just this one part of my stomach. If I could just perfect that, then I'd be healthier and fit. It's just one ab that's not showing up. And if I just rub my stomach like this, it might. But I'm not about looking good. Really. This is why we're not a true self. We can't be. We have to put on the fake self and go out and look good. Makeup, our haircuts. I don't care what I look like. Why'd you get dressed? Warmth. It's 90. All right. I think a marvelous, beautiful thing can happen when you admit that your life's been about looking good. Barkley doesn't care. Barkley doesn't care about looking good. There's no performance. This is why we love dogs. Because a dog is an authentic spirit. You can see their eyes. They're not fake. They're not trying to look good. They're not trying to say nice things to us. They tell us what they want. They don't hide their agenda. When they want food, Barkley now has learned. He picks up his bowl, puts it in his mouth, walks over to me and drops it. And I love that. And then my old dog, Woofy, she wanted to be petted. She didn't care about food and treats and balls and none of that shit. So Woofy would come right over to me, walk honestly up to me, and she'd put her paw right on my lap. And she'd say, pet me. And I love her. And it's easy to love a spirit. It's not easy to love when we're all caught in our equipment, lying about what we're up to, having a hidden agenda of both looking good and getting what we want, and not stating what we want. It's just a couple. I just saw a clip of a movie where the couple said the girl was mad because he went to the movies by himself. So she said, well, he goes, do you want to go to the movies? And he goes, no, I don't want to go to the movies. Well, you just said you wanted to go to the movies. And then she goes, I want you to ask me to go to the movies without me telling you. That's good because she finally got honest. But the first part was that she wanted to go to the movies. She could care less about the movies. You see, so she can't even say what she wants. And we were with our partners, we can't even say what we want. We can't be truthful. Hey, I want more attention from you today. How would that sound? Hey, I'm not feeling enough attention. Hey, pour it on. Let's get some attention over here. Instead, like, maybe put the candlelight on and get the nightie on and come out of the bathroom. The man's like reading a book. Well, what do you want? Looks like you want to have sex. Nope, I want attention. Oh, shit. All I wanted was that moment when you came out and said how great I look. The sex part, I could go to bed after. Why are you wearing the nightie? I want to have sex when you put that on. Well, I don't want sex. I just put the nightie on. I want you to tell me how good I look. Oh, shit. We're confused. I went to shows with Angie. And just so you know, when you're in Vegas with a woman and they say, I want to go to a show, that's a test. That's a test. I was just wondering if you'll go endure the show with them. And they might not even like the show either. They're just wanting to make sure you'll put down the gambling and the sports and you'll pay attention to them. So they're not saying, let's go to a show. They're saying, pay attention to me for the next 4 hours and put down the sports betting and the poker. And so then you go, well, fuck, I got to go to the show because I'm not going to get any sex anyways if I don't. So now I got to go do this show. But then you both get to the show and about 10 minutes in, you look at each other and go, why are we here? Because you both hate the show. And she realizes in that 10 minutes that she didn't really want to go to the show. She was just testing you. And there you are. And now you both go, how long does this thing go on? Oh, shit, this thing sucks. Well, you want to come here. I still get my sex, right? I've done my part. See? I'm going to go mow the lawn. Feels good. Your wife's sleeping. You go mow the lawn before she wakes up, or you surprise her when she's gone shopping and she comes home and you've mowed the lawn. And you're like, yeah, does it feel the same when she tells you, get the lawn mowed? Now you don't want to mow the lawn. So why? Did you want the lawn mowed? Did you want to mow the lawn? What was the agenda? See, the agenda was not to mow the lawn. The agenda was to look good. Gain points. Because if you want to mow the lawn, you would just mow the lawn. But we don't do that as human beings. We're liars. Everything we do has an agenda. It's nice to admit it. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna have any questions or comments, but it'd be nice.
Well, I hope we do. It was so good. Oh man. Anybody out there, comments, questions? Let's do it. We got 20 minutes if you guys got them. I know a lot of people were feeling that. You know the drill.
I'll wait for a hand to go up. I don't want dead airs. I was a kid and I knew this was true because I was 8. My grandma had died. It was my least favorite grandma. And by least favorite, I meant she gave away the least amount of money. Her cards only had the 10 spot in them, while Grandma Dollins had the 20. So of course, I liked to go to Grandma Dollins more than I did Grandma Dee. So Grandma died, and it was my first time I could actually experience that I was a fraud. And people were crying at my grandma's funeral, and I didn't feel like crying, and I couldn't really do it. And so I began to muster up some fake tears. And I remember being 8 going, okay, I better cry here. And I started mustering up those fake tears for Grandma because I feel like a good person, the good people were crying. And the bad people weren't. And so I started going down the road of having to be a good person. So I can remember feeling the whole performance. I can remember the attention coming my way when I got the tears flowing good enough. I can remember all of it. But the reality was that wasn't the truth. That I truly didn't have sadness. That I had to create it. And so I became a fraud at 8 and went down about that business. Maybe some of you can remember when you did it. Maybe you can remember your first time that you didn't feel the way you were supposed to feel and you had to act like a good person instead. And you lied. I see all those parents going to miserable t-ball games and soccer games and cheering for their kids that suck. You know, God forbid you're a truthful mom and went, hey, maybe you should hang it up, bud. You know? You know, it's cold out here. But instead, the kid gets in the car and you go, great job. And you lie to him. You lie to him. And everyone knows you're lying to him, and the kid knows that he's being lied to. And now you've said great job to something that wasn't a great job. And now the kid, when you do say great job, it lacks meaning. But you're a good person. But your great jobs don't mean shit because you say it all the time. We've been taught a good parent says great job all the time. Good leaders say great job all the time. Do they? I've found those to be the 2 most harmful words that I can have as leading people. As soon as I say them, the demise happens.
It's true.
Right after I say good job to someone, they feel complete and then they go screw up.
Yeah. Give it a new view here. Anybody out there?
It's okay. You don't want to look bad. Yeah.
I want Mama Bundle to say.
Well, see, there's going to be
They're waiting for Mama Bundle.
the people that aren't speaking. That's because you don't want to look bad. And the people that are going to speak, they want to look good. So now nobody speaks.
So I can't win here. Right? Is that what I'm hearing?
You can't win until you admit it,
Admit what?
that your life is about looking good.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with trying to put the right foot forward for the universe?
What's the well? What's wrong is that is that your authentic self? Is that you?
Sure. Because if it's not me, then I'm.
Is it you, or is it you performing what your idea of a good person is?
Well, it's the only I did. I've had bad experiences and I've had good experiences. So I'm really trying to tie this back to the untethered soul, and so I think I'm bonding with what you say about the experience you have.
Yeah.
So I know I've had experiences where I have done wrong, or I've been in experience that was scary, uncomfortable, and I much prefer the experience where I'm working to put the right foot forward.
So let me say, tomorrow, if you woke up and every thought you had to say the first thought. You had to. It was mandatory. You couldn't let it filter. You couldn't let it marinate. You had to just say exactly what came into your mind. Would they see a different Carrie?
Some instances, but I'm going to say also that, in some instances.
Now, I'm not suggesting that that's something we could do. And I'm not suggesting that that's the right thing to do. Okay? I don't want to get in a debate about honesty and where the line is and how much to say and how much to not say. My point is here, see what your equipment is up to. So the humility comes if somebody could call you out and go, what you just said back there. See, Angie's been with me a long time. So if we go out to dinner with two people and I don't say what I'm thinking and I wait and give it to her after dinner about the people, you should see how she looks at me because she wants me to practice what I preach. So as soon as I decide I have to be truthful with people, what happens is I have to be love and I have to be truthful. What then happens is my filter changes. My filter softens to the point where I must say the truth, but now I have to say it from a loving place. So as soon as I decide that my agenda has now changed, that I want to be truthful, not good, that I want to be love, not find love, that I want to be now present and I want to be the light. Now, Angie knows the light. So when she sees me not being the light, she calls me a fake and a fraud. She doesn't call it, she doesn't say it. She goes, ooh. Okay? And so, but it's okay for her to do it. Okay? But I have to practice what I preach. So what I'm suggesting is that when we state a couple things, one, my life is about looking good and I don't want it to be about that anymore. I want it to be about truth and love. Okay, good. Now I have to figure out a way to say my first thought or my thoughts without being violent or mean, but having a way to soften, having the filter just be a softener, a water softener. So what comes out is your exact thoughts. Now, as I produce my exact thoughts, not the crazy out of line ones, not the ones that go, man, that girl's attractive, I want to sleep with her. I'm not going to walk up to a woman and go, I want to sleep with you, or anything like that, or none of those thoughts. There's some insane ones. But the ones that stick, the ones that you're like, oh, this is what I'm thinking right now. And that I gotta kind of say this to make this space not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So-
So that I call
No, I
that
must.
I call that delivery of the message is 9/10 of the message. You don't have to be an asshole when you deliver the message. There is the kinder, softer art, which I'm now experiencing as you're extending this conversation. I'm now experiencing the kinder, softer art. But you hit, 30 minutes ago with some weighted gloves. And
That
what
was-
and what you're sharing now is I think where a lot of people strive to be and are probably most of the time. Sometimes we, myself, get so wrapped up in the emotion of it. There isn't a filter.
So
And sometimes I just keep it in because I actually take a pause and go, well, what's coming out of my mouth isn't. So there's like the three versions. There's hitting hard, there's being rude, there's being a bitch, there's the keeping it in and not being truthful with myself, not being truthful with the person. And then there's what we strive for is you gotta deliver the message with love, patience, empathy. And all of those three things roll around in your head. Those are all same thought that comes in three different versions of itself.
So,
Sometimes
but why do you got to deliver the message with love, compassion, and empathy?
Because it might be received better.
And that receiving better would make you look what?
I don't give a fuck about myself.
Okay, no, stop.
No.
This is the line right here. What do you mean? You
It's
don't
not
give
the
a fuck about
lie.
yourself?
It's not the
But
lie. So
How
but
do
it's
you
also-
do that, Carrie?
I'm
How do
gonna
you
be-
do that?
I'm going
How
to
do
be
you not
honest
give a
with
shit?
you, Art. What the time that I spent with you, and since retirement, I've had more time to think through this stuff and read the books that you've recommended. So, you might have, 4 years ago, the conversation might have gone better. But I'm evolving. But that doesn't still mean that the old Carrie doesn't pop out every once in a while and says,
But Carrie, my intention,
Mhm.
we have equipment. Our equipment doesn't have the capacity to think about the way other people feel before it thinks about how we feel. It doesn't. So to suggest that my motivation is for you and not me is hard for people to understand. So if you're suggesting right now, why aren't you giving me any empathy? Why aren't you softening it for me? Why are you hitting me with hard gloves?
because that's the version that came out.
Okay, so understand the reason I hit with hard gloves on this is because I think that the very heart of the matter, that a person to transform simply means that my life becomes is noted, and it is noted deeply and to a point of astonishment when you realize it, that my life is about looking good. And when you see it all, you see yourself. You see what you did today. You see how you spoke to people. You see. Now, I'm not saying anything about you, Carrie. I'm just saying what it was when I figured out and had to admit to myself that helping people was about me and how I look. That was what clued me in on how I could help people and have them simultaneously hate me. Now, figure that out. Figure out how you could help people and have them hate you at the same time, and have them feel that you're not helping them, and have them feel that you're hurting them or nagging them or bothering them. See, once you realize it, then the only conclusion was maybe they don't feel that I'm about them. And they maybe feel that everything I'm doing to help them is about the way my persona looks, about who I am in the world. And when that happens and you realize that, you realize what you've been up to in this agenda of if people that went and fed the homeless, okay? Now, I'm not saying there's not total, that's hard, but could admit that they like the way that makes them feel. And in fact, it's hurting the homeless. In fact, that no drug addict has ever starved to death. Not once. So every person that's going to feed the homeless drug addicts is hurting them, but rather has an agenda to look good, but absolutely hurting them.
Hurting their families.
And then going down to drug addicts and saying, I love you. when their family had to kick them out.
Right.
And and this is why I hit with hard gloves, because this is the way to freedom. The initial point of freedom is to say, my life is not about love. It's about looking loving. That my life is not about my care for people, that it's about looking about how I care for people. And when I can say that and note that and see that, then I have the possibility to love people and care for people outside of the role, outside of the looking good. So it might sound like I'm being cruel, but truth is the way. Now, I know your truth, Carrie. I don't have any, I know that you've worked on things and you've gotten to the point with your friends and everyone that you're the one. Okay, you're the one that's saying truth to people. You're the one that's saying how you feel and speaking your mind. I know that. Now, but maybe, you can't help it. And that's good. But look at the room you're in. And when you're a person who speaks their mind and says what you feel, you will be, because I've had the experience of thinking, because I speak my mind and I say what I think, and I've had the experience of all the people talking about me behind my back. And see, there is no chance that people aren't talking about you behind your back. That they're coming to the dinner party, you speak the mind. If they don't speak their mind, why not? Why not? They're going to go speak it in the car on the way home. You see? And that kind of fraudulence excites me to the point where I want to punch the world. And telling a little kid to be a good person and denying them and turning a kid into a performance, that's what we're doing. And that's what we do as a society. And we do not care about the truth. We don't want the truth. We want roles, and we want people to play their roles. We don't want a doctor to come into us and we'd be angry. The doctor comes in and goes, "Oh, dude, you're done. You're done, dude. It's over." We want the doctor to come in and have a bedside manner. We can't handle the truth. We want everything to feel good. We want people to feel good. I don't know.
So I've been trying to tie this back to the last three weeks or so. So how do we use this
Good
really
question.
tangibly?
Okay, so in The Untethered Soul, he speaks about sitting in your seat of consciousness. He speaks about being there and seeing the objects in front of you. Thoughts being an object, emotions being an object. And they're right in front of you. And he says, out here, right here is your thoughts, and out here is your emotions. And these have to be experienced and expressed. And without experience and expression of constant, and this is constant, this is daily, this is all the time, this experience of, and your thoughts have to be expressed through the truth, and your emotions have to be expressed by experiencing them, being honest with them. So if those two things aren't happening, then you become grinded up in the equipment, and everything that comes out is going to be about just looking good. You see? It'll be twisted up. So I don't say these thoughts and express these thoughts. Why? Because I don't want to look like a mean person. I don't want to look rude. I don't want to look whatever it is that I don't want to look. So I don't show these emotions and I don't express those emotions. Or I attach to my emotion because I'm trying to look good. You see? You see, somebody that has the emotion worry has the emotion worry. But somebody that says, I am very worried, while not having the emotion very worried, is trying to look like their life is more worrisome than somebody else's life. So this non-attachment and leaning back from these while experiencing them and then expressing them and going through the process of being truthful, because truth has now become what I need to be. So yeah, it's not true that my thoughts are true, but it's true that I must express them or they keep me grinded up in the equipment. So when I'm with somebody and I have thoughts about them and I don't express them, I can't be with them. I can only be my fake self because I'm covered up by thoughts.
Okay, so how do we use this tangibly with our family? With Bundle?
Well, you start by being violent with it, and then you get better.
I've done that.
Yeah, but not. I mean, you start with just the truth. It's all that matters. And this is the truth. What I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. Now, I'm not saying what I'm thinking is true, but it is true that I'm thinking this. I'd like you to dispel it. I'd like you to come up with something that makes me think differently. I'd like freedom from this thought. And until I express it, I don't have freedom from it. And what we do when we don't express these thoughts, we lack freedom of thought. So if somebody's on here tonight and they're not expressing their thoughts to me, that thought is going to go with them tonight. So you must express and you must experience in order to stay what you are. If you don't stay true, love, presence, and you get caught in your emotions and thoughts, you become what you're not. And you begin to play a role of looking good. Okay, let's go to Angela.
So that was a good segue.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to sit here and not honestly speak about I think that people are not black and white, and life is not black and white, and that we have a choice to give our minds and hearts and energies to either the dark or the light. And because of that complexity in people, I think we always have a choice of what we're going to pay attention to. And I think we can choose to give our energy to the good that is in everyone. Not that everyone is completely good, because we're all, we're all complex and we all have light and darkness in us, right? Each one of us. But life is short. And I want to choose, or try to choose, because yet you don't always do it. But I want to try and choose to see the light that is in each person, and not let the darkness win, which does not mean that you're being dishonest, in my opinion. I think that there is dark and light in everyone.
So let's say a person has darkness in them.
Yes,
They're around you, and they're around you. How would they know? How would they know?
I don't think it's my job to call out the darkness. I think it is my hope is to try and choose the light in them. And
Okay,
that's not denying the dark.
Whose job is it?
Whose job is to call out the dark?
Yeah.
It's not mine. It's
Okay.
not mine.
That's yours, Art.
Well, it might not be calling out darkness. It might be just calling out untruth.
Yeah.
Why would you accept untruth? Why would you accept false motivation? Why would you accept these things?
I think as a parent, all of us on this call, and you too, Art, because you are a parent to all of our children, I think parenting is holding all of that together. We hold the dark and the light. And I bet every single person on this call especially holds the dark and the light.
But not calling out the dark could possibly be the reason somebody remains dark. And shining your light, not just only on the good part, but, I just had a group with the kids today, and I said, love is accountable.
Yes.
Love is an accountable thing. And when somebody is behaving incongruent with their own safety and their own health,
Right.
and incongruent with the peace of the family and incongruent with whatever is going on, and we just look for the good, we might be enabling, we might be allowing. And so if, for instance, if Jack was, for instance, having an affair with another woman, and then you say, well, I only want to see the light in Jack, I refuse to look at the darkness. Well, you're going to have enormous difficulty.
Right.
It's going to be tough.
So
And
I
then-
think
And will he stop doing it?
I think we all have to hold both those things. We hold the boundaries
Mhm.
and we call the truth out. But I think it can be done in a way.
Well, I want to be clear about my motivation is here. My motivation is to suggest to people that if I share 90% of my thoughts with someone, I can only be 90% connected. And if I share 50% of my thoughts with somebody, I can only be 50% connected. So if I share 40%, 40%. So the amount of thoughts that I'm willing to share with someone is, and I'm about connection and love. So every thought that I don't share with the person, good or bad, is blocking my love. And I hold on to that thought when I'm with the person. So what I speak about is freedom. I speak about freedom to be with people. So to understand that if I'm with you two and I'm having certain thoughts about you, thoughts that bother me, things that I don't mention to you, things I've heard about you, but then I don't present them to you because I only want to see the good in you. Well, I can't clear myself of those thoughts and I can never be free to love you. I always got to protect myself from the darkness. So I'm not saying be rude with it. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying I'm going to be very, very truthful when I'm with you about what I'm thinking about you.
Mhm.
And I have to be, because that's how my soul survives and my spirit survives and doesn't get clouded up by the equipment. And the only reason, and by the way, I'm not suggesting that you're dark. I'm suggesting that I'm thinking you might be. And I'm not suggesting my thoughts are true, but my soul depends upon telling you my thoughts, because if I don't, then it's not me and you, it's me, you, and my thoughts about you. And I'll have to share those thoughts with another human being rather than you. So-
Here's my concern. I think this world is full of hate and division. And I think so many people spend their energy looking at the bad and drawing lines and say, you are other. And I think that is, I don't have the energy to do that. I don't have the time and the energy.
But is
And it
there
doesn't-
bad behavior? Is there bad behavior?
So in a family situation, absolutely, as a mother, it is my job to say no. And that I think you can do. You can say, this is not working. This is not part of what's going to be happening here. And you set the boundaries. But
So just because you don't call out hate and you don't hate, does that mean you love? Or does that mean you stay away from?
Say that again.
If you don't call out hate, or you don't see someone's darkness and you only look at the light, does that mean you love that person, or does that mean you stay away from that person? What if you determine that someone is dark? Do you stay away from that person, or do you love them? And I'm not talking about like I love them because I love everyone. I'm talking about literally I love them.
I think you love them. I think you can see the good that is in them, I think that it's what you're going to give your energy to, because it's truly there that all of us have dark and light. And I just have to say, I don't have the capacity and the energy and the time to focus my energy on people's weaknesses and
Well, let's not talk about people. Let's just talk about your people that you live that are around you.
yeah,
Your
I think
family and friends.
it's sometimes that's where choice comes involved.
Okay, but let's say that this is just the purposes of your own mental freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, not for any other purposes. Not because your truth is going to change the world. Not because of any other reason. Just simply because if you're captured by your thoughts, you can't be truth. So expressing yourself
You have to express
and your
yourself.
thoughts is
Yes.
the way to freedom.
Yes, you have to express yourself, just like I had to express myself tonight, because I want to be honest with you. And I think that you create dialogue, which is very good. And you have a lot of wisdom in what you're saying. I just have to say, though, that I think love is a decision, not an emotion. And so if we're just constantly always acting according to our emotion, we are not living fully, because we are more than our emotions.
Yeah.
So yes, we needed to express them, but then we need to go in a transcendent sort of fullness to say, yes, there's these emotions, and yes, I'm expressing emotions. I am going to love you. I'm going to make a decision to be present and to love and to forgive and to proceed along a path with you.
I absolutely believe you, Angela. I do. I believe you have this certain capacity, and I don't think that there is. I think that you've put tons of thought in, and you have this capacity, and you have this place in your life where everything you're saying is true.
And I'm not always there, but that's what I want.
I know, but I believe you, and I see it. And there isn't. I don't think there's anyone that can discount your love and the way you bring it. And I don't. And this might not be something that you could find a practical application in. But what I'm trying to give people is a practical application. So how do I apply this? So if these kids are lost in their equipment, if they're stuck here in awkwardness and discomfort, and they're not being their authentic self, they're not being themselves, they're being a show for other people. They're not experiencing love because they're covered up by darkness. They're not experiencing love because they're covered up by insecurities. They're not able to give love because they're too busy looking good. They're not able to give love because they're too busy holding on to themselves, and they don't want to look loving, and they don't want to look caring, so they want to look cool. They want to put sunglasses on in the house and on and on and on. And they want to dress a certain way, and they want to do it a certain way, and they want to say a certain thing. And what I'm saying is there's a way out for them. And that starts expressing their thoughts. And they need to figure out if those thoughts that they're having are crazy or true. And they need to feel their emotions and experience them, but not go into states. So they go from I am fine to I am depressed. And then they shut down and isolate, and they stay in their bedrooms. And so I am trying to free them of that equipment that's got them locked up, that filter of looking good, you see? And I'm trying to free anyone who is caught in that. And this equipment causes breakdowns to the point of isolations and drug use. So you do, and you can see it, and all of us can feel your love. We can feel it. But that's not the same for a lot of folks. They're not having that same experience on this planet with their equipment. They're not able to learn what you've learned and see how you've progressed and evolved and all the safety you have and the feeling of comfort and ease and having all that, and then being able to find love and be loved. That's tough. So what I'm doing with people is literally trying to say, hey, listen, what you should start with is just saying truth. Say it to whoever. Now you'll figure out if you're being whiny or confused. Now you'll figure out if you're oppressed, or, when they come to their families and they talk about what happened in their childhoods here. I don't know if they go to their parents and say the same things. You see, and I'm not talking about you or specifically, but a lot of kids talk about their childhoods and how bad it was and how their parents were abusive. And I'm not saying it was you guys. I'm just saying shit, people here do that. And then I tell them, well, why would you want to go hang out with your parents? And then they go be fraudulent with their parents and they don't say their thoughts. They don't say what they're thinking about their childhood. They don't say what they're thinking about how they've been oppressed by their families. They don't sit there and think about how they've been treated unfairly and their brothers and sisters got this and I didn't get this and he treated him like this. They don't say none of that stuff. And you think they're going to love? They're covered up by fraudulence. So there isn't a natural evolution as human beings as we get older to progress, to be more loving once we get more safe. As we get more safe and more comfortable with who we are and more comfortable with our society and our community. And it's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So then we get to the point where you're talking about, you even said the word, you said transcend. It's exactly right. And that's what Maslow said. When all your needs are met and you're comfortable and you have everything and you have money, you have everything, you'll look around and go, okay, I need love now. And you'll find it at that point. But not these kids, not everyone. They need guidance to have a practical way out. You see, so when I hit hard, I'm hitting hard because I want people to understand there is a pathway, a direct pathway to freedom. And if you can't see that all these kids in this room and all those kids up at camp, that their life's about not looking good, or their life's about looking good and trying to impress people rather than love, well, then you can't see why they've all had an identity crisis. See, they had an identity crisis because it doesn't get you anywhere, and they all think they're going to be happy when they get enough stuff. And that's because the equipment is at work and saying, you'll be happy when you look better. You don't look good right now. You got to look better. You got to have money. You got to have your own place. You got to have this. You got to have that. And all that may be true, but it's still what's driving them, but they need love because they're starving for it. And they need connection because they're starving for it. But they can't connect and they can't love because their motivation is to look good. And so I don't have time for that. You see? Beautiful. But I believe, I don't have any argument with what you're saying. I don't. I see you being truthful and I see it's your heart and everyone can see your heart pounding and see it. So I don't have any argument.
I also want to mention anybody that might have tuned in late. You want to watch this recording. You want to catch the beginning so you have the entire package of his message tonight. So I've just noticed maybe a couple questions that people have had. I've kind of thought they didn't catch the beginning. So I'll shoot it out to everybody to make sure you hear the entire package so nothing's out of context.
But Angela, do you see for 1 minute though that what we've done is with youngsters even to say stand up straight. Look good. You got to look good. This is how you do it. Don't say that. Watch what you say to grandma. Don't say the truth to her. Say what you really, we create this. And we want people to look how a good person looks. I better get to Bev.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Art. I just wanted to say I totally agree with you. I see this stuff in myself. When you say things like that, you think, gosh, that's bad to just be motivated just by looking good. But I think we get so much validation from others, right? Especially kids that they really don't have an identity. Their identity is whatever somebody's thinking of them at the moment, right? And they need that like the air that we breathe. So I agree. What I was just going to suggest is maybe a topic for next time to talk about, because you talk about like, how do you speak to somebody where you're not coming across as superior? And I could see like if you're calling out people and you're totally honest, you could really come across as superior. And so I wonder if you could maybe spend some time explaining how to be completely transparent and honest without a real agenda and without trying to look good, but without coming across as superior.
Well, at first you'll see that you can't. At first you'll see that it isn't about that. When your freedom from your thoughts becomes your number one priority, you can't care how you look. Now, what'll happen is you'll express thoughts and you won't look very good. and you won't like it. You'll regret it. So tonight, what I'll do after this is I'll go in my room and I'll lay down and I'll think about how I looked. And I'll regret being the hard art. I'll regret that. But in the time, I was trying to be truthful and passionate. But see, now I'll regret. So then next week, I'll come on and I'll say, okay, I want to give a different a message, but next time I want to do it without hitting hard and calling people out. You see, so that's sparks the improvement. The truth sparks improvement. So there is a possibility that we all need to improve. How does that going to happen? So how does improvement happen?
You make mistakes.
How do we get better? Well, we only can improve by getting more truthful, by saying more thoughts. I'm sorry. Otherwise, you're perfect. You already got it. Don't worry. But we have to improve. But there is ways we can improve. See, I can improve by sharing more thoughts, feeling the repercussions of how I did it, but sharing more truth and feeling I didn't do it good enough and I offended people and now becoming less offensive. But I can't improve by not sharing more truth. I can't. And I can't improve the darkness around me with these kids. But that doesn't mean I go to my poker game and tell everybody about themselves. Because when I leave the poker game, I don't have thoughts about those people. But if I did have thoughts about people, the next time I saw them, I would say, I've been thinking about you and I don't like what you said to me. And I would free myself of that thought, you see. So we get better at it. We got to start doing it first.
Yeah.
I would love families to get in a room and just say all their thoughts and have each other feel what that feels like and say, we can't leave. We're not going to leave the room. We're going to empty our heads of each other. We're going to pour it out on the table and we ain't leaving and no one can run and I don't care how pissed you are, but you're going to hear my thoughts and everyone do it. You think that relationship and that family wouldn't get better? It 100% absolutely would. And you would know each other better.
Yeah.
It would be beautiful. But then you would improve because you'd hurt people's feelings and you'd feel bad. And you go, next time I say the truth, I got to say it better. I got to say it nicer. I got to say it from a place of love. So in order for me to say it from a place of love, I got to feel more loving when I say it. But I still got to say my thoughts because that's what keeps me free. You see? So you'll get better at it. You just have to get rid of it for now. All right, we'll close with Carrie. It's getting late. Everyone's getting antsy.
I was just going to kind of, Bev kind of summarize what I was thinking. So I'm good.
You know, this topic always gets people. Every time I start talking about sharing more thoughts and being more truthful, people always come up with ways to argue it. And I just challenge you to look. Why would you argue this? Why would you argue expressing more thoughts and being more truthful? What inside you wants to argue with that? And I would suggest that what is inside you that wants to argue that is your equipment that says that won't look very good, that will cause damage. So you look and see. You see if you want to be completely connected with your partner. You tell me if you'll connect more if you share more thoughts. Now, it won't be easy, and it might hurt feelings, and you might have to get good at it, but you cannot deny to me that the way to more connection is more truth. Please, stop. You won't buy it for a second. Nobody can. So I'm suggesting that the way for connection and love is more truth. I'm sorry if that offends people, and I'm sorry if they disagree or not, and whatever it is, or I just suggest that as a suggestion, maybe. And there's some people that have this loving capacity without doing this. I'm probably pretty sure Ansel is one of them, and I think that there's people that do, but some of us don't have this capacity. And some of us aren't connecting with our loved ones. And some of us aren't loving our partners. And some of us are getting divorces. And some of us are fighting. And some of us are yelling at each other.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Well,
Yeah.
I can't tell who that is.
Can I say one thing? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Art, I think that you have this amazing combination of speaking truth, which we all need to do. Absolutely. But you also have the underlying love, and it is palpable, and it's palpable to all those kids that are there with you. And that's why your program works. So I think it's absolutely the combination of truth and love together. That's important.
And that's a great closing and segue. Thank you. And what I'm trying to express to people is the pathway of how I got there. That I used to not have any capacity to come off loving when I said truth. That I would say truth and people will hate me. And then I was confused on why. And I was confused on why people didn't want to be around me. And I was confused why my energy just didn't attract people. And what I had to do was I had to stay back from my equipment. I had to express my thoughts. I had to experience my emotions. And then I had to have the filter of love rather than the filter of looking good. And that took massive amounts of work. And that's the pathway I'm trying to describe to people. And I'm trying to say, this is a capacity we all have to return to what we are by seeing what we're not, by seeing that we're not our thoughts, that we don't think that it thinks, by seeing we're not our emotions. We just experience them sometimes. And then we don't filter our life through these blocked emotions and thoughts. We're free. And so the expression is the key. So thank you. And thank you for making it interesting and challenging me. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you got on there and said what you said, because I don't need everyone to agree with me. I need to talk. I need to talk. And so I get to learn something too. So thank you guys.
Great conversation tonight. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. See you locals in Kent. Good night. Good night.